Hello everyone, Artemu the Violet Wizard here. And today is the grand finale of Rayman Origins. Last time we conquered the final world of the game and managed to put a stop to the magician's plan of ruling over the Glade of Dreams using the Lums that he tricked us into gathering. So the main story of the game is complete. However, there is one more challenge that is available to us. And to head over there, we gotta return to the Snoring Tree. Get the Livid Dead Stars Tour! Bring new Skull Teeth! So in order to access the final challenge of the game, you need to collect the 10 Skull Teeth that you can get from doing the treasure chase levels, which you can only do after obtaining a sizable amount of Electoons over the course of the game. So, yeah. It's definitely a lot you need to do in order to be able to access this final area. But if you're able to just go through the game like I did, striving to collect as many Electoons as you can over the course of the adventure, then you should be able to collect all the teeth by the time you get to the final battle against the magician. So, with that said, it is time to finally take on this last challenge. I honestly do not know how long this stream session is gonna go, but given how long it's been since I've done this particular level, we'll have to wait and see. Let's just enter through the portal and head to the land of the Livid Dead. This is the place where all the nightmares end up after spawning from the nightmares of Palakis the Bubble Dreamer. There's definitely a lot of interesting sights we can see around here. You see, there's a bunch of old zombie grannies over here, just kind of chilling and whatnot. And they'll also be serving as the main enemies that we'll be encountering throughout this area. But I don't know why specifically grannies are being used as villains here. Because in my personal experience, grandmothers tend to be on the good side. At least my grandmother was. So hopefully we won't encounter her down here in the land of the Livid Dead. So yeah, this area is definitely quite interesting, especially for the lore of the Rayman series, since this area actually made its debut in Rayman 3 Hoodlum Havoc, as that was one of the areas that you could go to in that game. Oh, really? However, the Land of the Livid Dead has a vastly different appearance in this game compared to its original appearance in Rayman 3. And I would say that this area more closely resembles the Cave of Bad Dreams from Rayman 2 The Great Escape, as that area is also treated as like a underworld-like area. And it's also pretty interesting lore-wise, cause in Rayman 2, the Cave of Bad Dreams was definitely one of the more iconic and interesting levels from that game, and my god did I love going through it when I was younger, just because of the horror vibes to it. And also with the big guy who runs it, who sadly we're not going to see in this adventure. But in Rayman 2, the Cave of Bad Dreams was ruled by an entity named Jono, who is this Cyclops-like figure who was seen as like a dark counterpart to Palakis. So while Palakis was the creator god of the Glade of Dreams, Jono is the ruler of the nightmares, and also serves to keep the nightmares imprisoned within the Cave of Bad Dreams, so they wouldn't be able to harm any of the denizens in the Glade of Dreams. I definitely pretty interesting lore-wise with the connections between these characters and the world that they established there. There's definitely quite a bit of interesting lore in the Rayman series. I wouldn't say that it's too much of a focus with the series. It's usually just the gameplay. But still pretty cool that they have this mythic figure introduced in Rayman 2. And like I said before, definitely one of the most iconic parts of Rayman 2. How you're going through the Cave of Bad Dreams, and there's a certain sequence where Jono will chase you down this slide at a certain portion of the level. And it's just so frickin' cool in terms of just the gameplay, because he's like, with the way that you're sliding through the area, and you will see Jono's... what I want to say here is that while you're trying to escape from Jono, the camera is positioned inside of his mouth as he is pursuing you. And it's just, God, such an amazing thing that they were able to do. Just really sell the horror aspects of that area. And then, of course, the last section of the Cave of Bad Dreams was also a very iconic portion of that game's story, where at the end of the Cave of Bad Dreams, Rayman encounters this room that is full of treasure, kind of like the Cave of Wonders from Aladdin. And he's offered a choice by Jono to take as much of the treasure as he wants, which actually leads to an optional game over sequence, which is very fun, where if Rayman accepts the treasure that Jono offers, he ends up being teleported to this deserted island where he's grown fat and lazy, and is just surrounded by the treasure he managed to claim. And whatever fate that Rayman's friends faced as they were being attacked by the Robo-Pirates is completely left in the dark at this point, because Rayman has left that fight behind. And of course, rejecting the treasure is the correct path you want to take, as that will enable you to get the elixir of life that's necessary to heal your buddy Clark. And who doesn't want to help Clark? He's such a nice guy in that game. But yeah, I know I've been spending this entire intro portion of this level just gushing about how much I love Rayman 2, but that's just how I feel. It's a very iconic game in the series, and it's pretty fun seeing how much that this section of the game is influenced by that particular level. It is truly one of the best in the entire series, I feel. Just so great thematically and with the lore it presents, as well as the gameplay sections where you're being chased by Jono. Truly amazing. Oh, finally we made it through that last section. So we got a lot we gotta deal with around here, obviously. This is the hardest level of the game, and you want to be very careful throughout this portion. It's got this part with this skeletal snake that we have to ride on as we are going through this section. We're also being chased by these black flies that always remind me of the black Lums from Rayman 3. Yeah, this is quite the stressful part, because we got so many things coming at us in such rapid succession. You definitely want to be careful of this part. One wrong move, and you're at the start of the room all over again. So yeah, this final world definitely tests all of your skills. There is no holding back here. You gotta do things practically perfectly if you want to survive here. And as far as final levels in games goes, yeah, this is a great one. Just thematically, with us storming the Rayman equivalent of hell, having to deal with all these challenges. It's a great one. Great way to close off this adventure that we have been on all throughout the game. Whew, made it through there. So I think that should give us a checkpoint here. Yep. And now we got ourselves some platforms we got to run up. Very similar to what we saw back in the... back when we were in the Moody Clouds. So this section is pretty tricky, and I think we've already failed this part. So I'm pretty sure you need to try and run up this thing instead of doing what I'm doing here. Yeah, remember this part in particular being pretty tricky. Ow. And the worst part about this is I don't think we even get an additional heart in order to help us take damage in this portion. So, yeah, this level really does test everything that you've been building up over the course of the adventure. It is the biggest challenge of the game, you know, besides going after 100% completion, which I am not going for in this playthrough. I just wanted to focus on the core story mode of this game, which was very fun, I might add. Just always love going through this game. It is such a blast. Ooh, boy. Alright, good thing that's a checkpoint. So got these sarcophagi that we gotta use as platforms here, while also dealing with the grannies. Yeah, you definitely need to be fast here. Alright, come on. We can do this. Alright, we're not gonna do it this way. Yeah, trying to catch up to this thing when it gets ahead of you is pretty nasty. But we can do it. We managed to come this far. We can do this part. Oh, come on. Whoa! That thing flipped me like a pancake. Don't know what to feel about that. Good. Ow. I mean, we did pretty good there until we messed up. But we'll be good. As long as we are persistent, we should be able to get through here. Despite all of the grannies and other horrible abominations we gotta deal with. It's definitely been a long time since I tried doing the Land of the Livid Dead. So I can't remember when my last playthrough of this game was, but it was definitely a while ago. But we managed to make it through there. So what do we have next? Oh. She has a hat covered in spikes. I didn't notice that at first. I definitely like the camera being very close up here. It definitely makes this portion pretty stressful because you can't really see what's ahead of you all that well. But yeah, definitely been a while since the last time I played this level. There we go. Managed to bash that granny away. Whoa, look at these big menacing tentacles we got now. Ah! Ow! Yeah, just such an interesting level thematically with all the different hazards you gotta deal with. And just the fun that the main enemies you gotta deal with around here are a bunch of old zombie grandmas. I just love this game and its strange sense of humor. Ow! Oh boy, that part's definitely gonna be tricky to do here. Having to do wall jumps while avoiding that spiky tentacle is real nasty. But we should be able to... Oh, come on. It's also pretty funny how at the very start of the game, this entire adventure kicked off because we were annoying a grandma so much that she just decided to throw her husband at us as a projectile. Like I said, this series has such a quirky sense of humor, and I love it. Oh, come on. Probably needed to use that granny as a platform, which is such a wild thing to say out of context, but that's just the way Rayman goes. Ow. While we are dealing with this section here, what's something else that we could say? I guess I could say that I'm having a pretty good day off from work at the moment. I had a pretty stressful last couple of work days, but I managed to get through that, and so I'm very excited for, it's probably the end of that part there that I totally flubbed. But yeah, I'm enjoying my little break from work at the moment. Actually got the next 2 days off, which is very nice. Always feels good to have a little break every now and then after a pretty stressful period of work. Since I had to do like 5 straight shifts in a row. That was nasty. But I'm feeling pretty good now. Especially because I went out for lunch and went to a certain restaurant that I always like to visit and got myself one of my favorite burgers that I like to get there. Oh, it was so good. I was always very happy to grab a meal I enjoy. But after dealing with that, definitely feel we're getting closer to the end. Now we got these columns of fire shooting out at us. I mean, we're getting there. Ow. So yeah, definitely pretty nasty what we gotta deal with here. Slide. Now we gotta hover our way down here while also avoiding the jets of fire. So yeah, definitely amping up the challenge here by giving us a little flight section. And there's a dark tendril coming at us, so you can't and stay put for one place for too long. Yeah, like I said, this definitely offers a lot of challenge for us. But we're gonna do our best to make it through here. Pretty sure we don't have much farther to go until we see the end of this area. Just gotta be really careful this part. Given all the hazards that they throw at you, you don't want to tarry in one place for too long. Ow! Come on! I definitely love the music in this section, how it's been building up all throughout this area. So now we got just this chorus. Just accentuating just the danger of this portion. I definitely really liked the more a cappella sections of this game's soundtrack. Like, obviously, I love the soundtrack of this game, and parts like these are why I just really love the experience. Well, managed to get to another checkpoint and totally failed there. Yeah, some of the sections around here definitely make me think of some Mega Man stages. Most notably Quick Man, with how you have all these rapidly approaching hazards that you gotta deal with. Alright, managed to outrun the jet of fire there. And I think we're close to the end here. Yup! We have already managed to reach the boss at the very end. So welcome to the true final battle of Rayman Origins! Big Mama! This massive demon is the leader of the monsters that inhabit the land of the Livid Dead. So we just want to stay on this monster's arms and just very carefully maneuver ourselves to where we can strike her weak point, which, as you can clearly see, disappears very quickly. Gotta watch out for the spikes all along her body. And once we knock those away, we can just smash her eyes off. So yeah, definitely a pretty grisly fight we have here. Alright, she's gonna get her arms twisted there for a moment. Alright, she's gonna try and reach for her eyes, so you gotta be careful of this part to not get smashed. And there's her weak point. Ow. Also, I love that she just starts the fight by painting her nails. Just a fun little detail here. But yeah, this demon was all over some of the promotion material for this game. Like, I remember one of the trailers ended with Rayman and his friends fighting against Big Mama. And, oh man, that was just such an iconic moment to see. And throughout this entire game, I was just waiting for the moment where we would finally get to battle this demon. And little did I know she would be the final boss of the game after managing to complete all of the different challenges here. But there we go! Honestly, a pretty short battle if you know what you're doing. That was a nightmare. Thanks. So yeah, but at the very end, Big Mama turns out to be a nymph. So we know that the nymphs are basically the beings that are the guardians of the various worlds we've gone to explore. So that offers some interesting development there, showing that even the land of the Livid Dead has a nymph protector. So yeah, Big Mama is not a villainous figure. She was just a little angry that we were intruding in her territory, especially after all the other nightmares went berserk following the manipulations from the magician. And we have a redone credit sequence here, where we can actually go in the background and smash apart the credits. Stud! So yeah, definitely an interesting little part here where we can actually interact with the credits and just kind of smash apart things here. And unlike in the last session we did, I'm probably actually going to let the full credits play. From what I remember, these credits take a long time to actually go through, but we're not going to worry too much about this and just have a nice moment to just talk about the adventure that we have been on. Because yeah, it was a good one. I really love Rayman Origins. It was such a fun game to get to replay, as this was a game I really loved from my childhood. And just getting to share my thoughts and opinions of the Rayman series here on this channel was so good after all these years. I love this series so much. Ever since I first played Rayman 3 as well as Rayman 2 from the PS2 version of that game. Just, oh man, they were so good. And while the status of the Rayman series at the moment is a little weird, especially with the way that Ubisoft has been doing things pretty lately. Yeah, I don't know how soon we're going to see the next Rayman game, though I have seen, so in between this session and the last one, there was a announcement that there was going to be an enhanced version of Rayman Origins that Ubisoft is planning to release sometime later. And I thought that was so funny that that was announced while I was streaming Rayman Origins here. God, what amazing timing. It's like when Emil was doing his Let's Play of Xenoblade Chronicles, and then around the same time, Rex got announced as a player character in Smash Brothers for Wii U. God, that is just crazy to think about, just the timing of all that. So yeah, that's definitely been a pretty fun thing to think about. And sometime soon I'd like to grab the re-release of the original Rayman game. That is not Rayman Origins, believe it or not. But I'd definitely like to grab that to kind of see just what the original Rayman was like and get to see more of this series that I really enjoyed. Because obviously I definitely feel pretty sour about some of the decisions made with this series and with Rayman over the last couple of decades. Like, come on, do we really need the rabbits to take off as much as they did? Those things are just prototype minions to me. And it wasn't really until the Mario Plus Rabbids games where I actually started to like those things. Like, the fact that we have a YouTuber who goes by the moniker Rabid Luigi, and then later we got an officially licensed Nintendo game featuring a character called Rabid Luigi. That is just frickin' hilarious to me that that managed to happen. Just so serendipitous. And from what I have seen, like, a lot of the Rabid characters that got introduced in, I want to say it was Mario Plus Rabbids Spark of Hope. Like, let's be real, some of those designs are really good, especially with the female Rabbids. They tend to have really good designs. And we also got to finally see Rayman getting a proper comeback in the DLC for that game, which I was quite happy for, even though I never played the game myself. It's very nice to get to see Rayman back in action. You definitely tell the developers of that game definitely had a lot of love for the brand in this franchise. So, it's definitely going to be interesting to see where things go from here. Like, obviously we have the re-release of the original Rayman game. We've had the re-release of Rayman 2 on the Nintendo Switch with the Nintendo 64 or games that are available on that system. So that's pretty nice. But yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting to see where the series goes from here. I would definitely love to see another game in the same vein as Rayman 2 and Rayman 3, where it's a 3D platformer. But I'd also like another game in this style, because I love Rayman Origins, and Rayman Legends, I'd say, is definitely up there as one of the best games in the series. Like, it's so freaking good. Not just a Rayman game, but as a game in general, it's incredible. And I definitely love to play that on the channel at some point. But it's probably going to be a while, so I want to take a little break from Rayman for the time being. But it's definitely a series I always love to come back to. It's such a phenomenal time playing these games, and I can't wait to talk more about them in the future. But for now, our channel is going to be moving to some other territory. So I'm probably going to be taking a break from doing streams for the rest of the week, so I can just focus on myself and my art, and I'll just kind of focus on some other things I want to do around this time. But next week, we should hopefully be getting to see the next game we're going to stream here on YouTube, which I'll give a little hint about. So we're going to be returning to a game that I have previously streamed back on Twitch, back when I was doing live streams on that site. And in fact, I've already uploaded the VOD from that playthrough on my YouTube channel. But it'll definitely be pretty nice to get to revisit that game, especially with some of the things I want to discuss regarding it. So that'll be pretty fun to see. Besides that, I'm probably going to be also focusing on uploading the VODs from when I was playing Stardew Valley onto my YouTube channel. So that'll be very nice for us to take care of. Just hammering away at that particular playthrough is going to be pretty fun. So I don't know when I'm going to be streaming at that particular game on my YouTube channel, but I definitely love to do that sometime soon, depending on how things go. Like, I'm probably going to wait until after I've uploaded all of the VODs from my Twitch playthrough of that game, and then we'll jump back into it on YouTube whenever I feel ready for it. So I know they did put out a new update pretty recently that actually adds new characters that you can romance, which, you know, is pretty fun. Although, I don't have to worry about that in my file that I'm doing for my live stream, since I've actually already gotten married in that game. So, yeah, we're not going to worry about that too much longer. Ah, we're getting some Land of the Livid Dead music playing here at the credits now, which is very appropriate, since that's what we spent today's session on. Yeah, this really was a pretty quick session, all things considered. Like, we managed to get to the big boss in like 20 minutes, and even then, she didn't take too long for us to beat. But yeah, definitely a fun time. I really love this game, and getting to revisit it was a load of fun. So obviously, we haven't done everything we can do in this game, because there's still quite a few different completion goals that you can reach by collecting Lums, rescuing all of the Electoons, unlocking all the player characters, getting all the medals for collecting a large enough amount of Lums. There is a lot that you can still do in this game, but I mainly want to focus on clearing up the story and beating all the levels, especially clearing the Land of the Livid Dead. So that is basically what I want to do in this series, and I have no plans to stream anything else from this. We've already done everything I wanted to do. God, the credits are still going. Seriously, one of the longest credit sequences, just because they scroll so frickin' slow. But hey, at least we get more Land of the Livid Dead music playing here. It's been a blast going through this game again, getting to share my thoughts and opinions of this series. That means a lot to me. And I'm very excited for what we're going to be playing later on this channel in the future. So I definitely have a lot of fun ideas that I want to go for. And I also want to kind of pivot into doing some other content like reactions and discussions about various other things, as there's quite a few different YouTubers who do content that I would like to react to, like The Odd Ones Out, Jacob Alpharad, Jaden Animations, and also Emma Richu. She also does some really good videos that I would like to do reactions to. But yeah, definitely going to be a while before we get into some newer stuff, especially because I'm going to be taking a little break from streaming for the rest of the week. But don't worry, we'll be back to something very nice pretty soon. God, this part of the music is so freaking good. Like, once the background vocals kick in, it is so fantastic. Yeah, it goes without saying, but I just love so many aspects of this game. The art style, the gameplay, the sound design, and the soundtrack are phenomenal. Obviously, the story could have used a bit more development and focus, but, you know, the core gameplay was still so good that I can forgive the lack of any real story focus here. All in all, just had a really fun time revisiting this game, and I'd love to show off more of this series. That means a whole lot to me. But yeah, we're going to be leaving behind Rayman, Glowbox, Batilla, Murphy, the Teensies, Polycus, and that piece of crap Magician. We'll see them again someday, but I got other things I don't want to focus on. I really don't know what else to say here at the moment. So if anyone's a fan of Penny Snapcube, she's been she's been resuming her playthrough of The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker, which I am quite happy for, since I've actually been replaying that game myself and having a pretty good time with it. Before this session started, I actually managed to complete the Wind Temple, which obviously ends with one of my favorite bosses in the series, Mulgara. So I'm very happy that I was able to do that. And I am steadily making my way to being able to begin cleanup of that game. So I actually haven't 100%ed Wind Waker before, despite playing a great deal of the Wii U version of that game. But, like, I never really felt motivated to go after, like, every piece of heart in the game. But that could definitely be something I could focus on later. It'd be nice to finally say that I've 100%ed Wind Waker, you know? And, you know, it's just a game that I really like. I don't see myself streaming that game anytime soon, especially because I don't have a capture card, but, you know, maybe someday I'll get around to it. But yeah, I'm not too sure about that. God, we got to the point where the music's actually started to loop. That's how long these credits are. We have looped back around to the song that was playing at the very start of the credits. It's a good thing this wasn't a Kickstarter game, because then they'd have to list all of the backers. And who wants that? Speaking of Kickstarter, though, a YouTube channel I follow has been doing a Kickstarter for, like, their new D&D stuff that they have been working on, which is pretty dang awesome. It's called Neon Odyssey, and it's like a sci-fi reimagining of Dungeons and Dragons. And that's something I'd definitely like to check out sometime soon. Definitely like to try and grab some copies of the books that they have, that they're producing for it. And maybe at some point I'll get around to finding a group who would like to do a playthrough of some of the stuff that you can find within Neon Odyssey. I mean, I have quite a few friends on Discord who do D&D. One of them even streams her D&D playthroughs, so that could be pretty fun to eventually get around to at some point. Though I don't see myself streaming anything like that in the future. God, how long are these credits gonna go? We spent more time on the credits than we did the actual final boss of the game. That is sad. Okay, we're already 40 minutes into this stream here. I think I'm going to go until we're at least 45 minutes in, and then I'm going to end things. Because at this point, I really don't know what else to talk about, and these credits are taking forever. I guess I could say I'm also excited for the finale of the Amazing Digital Circus that's going to be coming out later this month, which I'm very excited for. I mean, I say this month, we're on the last day of May, but you know what I mean. We're June adjacent, and very excited to eventually see the ending of that series. Like, from what I have heard, the last episode has leaked, but I am doing my best to avoid, like, any spoilers from it, and I can confidently say I have not been spoiled yet. So I'd like to forgive anyone who is tuning into the stream or watching the VOD after the fact to not spoil anything for anyone, you know? That would just be very upsetting for a number of reasons. Really excited to see what is going to happen with the finale of that. Then it's going to be pretty cool to see some of the other glitch indie shows making progress. Like, I'm really excited for Knights of Guinevere, Lackadaisy, the Gaslight District, and especially Gameoverse. That's going to be fantastic to get to see once it's finally a real series and not just a single pilot. It's definitely going to be a while before we get around to that. Oh my god, these credits are taking forever. Why did I think it was a good idea to just wait for the credits to go? It's not worth it. There isn't anything for us to see. We're just smashing letters and occasionally knocking letters out of the word assistant so that they spell ass. You know, because I am a mature person like that. Like that. I have sabotaged your credits, so now they say a bad word. Oh, let's do it again. Haha. I am the most mature non-binary streamer in the world. Okay, I definitely feel like we're going to be stopping pretty soon. It's almost 45 minutes into the stream. Whoop, hang on. It's like, this is the game to me now. Just trying to spell the word ass. There we go. Ass 8 director. Aw, man, it's the simple things in life, you know? That we have to go through in order to maintain our sanity. Please let that be the end. Looks like it actually is the end. And we get to show off, well, a couple lums at the end. Yep, it is indeed the end. We have managed to gather all of the, well, everything that we needed to. Also, it is just cursed seeing bald Electoons. Like, there is no way these guys should look like that. But yeah, that is the end of our adventure. And of course, now we just have a warp to the land of the Livid Dead anytime you want to go there. But yeah, we are done with this adventure. If you want to go through all the levels in order to rescue all the Electoons so that you can unlock all of the bonus characters, of which I do not know who the last character you can unlock is. I know we got Ray Nemesis over here, but yeah, I'm not going to worry about him anytime soon. We have finished up our playthrough, cleared up every level that we can go through, so I can confidently say our journey here in the Glade of Dreams has come to an end. Well said, Polycus. Thank you for joining me on this adventure. It's definitely been a blast. And I'll see you again sometime soon for one of my favorite games of all time. Until next time, have a good day, and take care, everyone.